Hi everybody, it's Adrienne Crutch. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to just talk to you really quickly and briefly today about something that has been a blessing to me this month, all right, of November. And I wrote this book, and a lot of you that know me know I wrote this book, I Am My Father's Daughter. And this book has been a blessing to me, as well as so many of my family and friends that have purchased the book. You can always get this book on my website, adriennecrutch.com. But the book is written to coincide with every single month. So there are 12 chapters to this book, and each chapter represents a month. And so I wanted to just focus on the month of November, because this book blessed me, the author, this month. I was, during this time, I've been just focusing on being thankful and being grateful. And I've actually have a journal that I've, put together. And so every day in the month of November, I've just been jotting down some things that I'm grateful about and some things that I'm thankful about. And I've just jotted them down. And I've been really focusing on not complaining and just working towards just being generally grateful and thankful. So along with that, I've been working on just pulling it in and just focusing more on things that are, dear to my heart, which are, the ministry. And also I've been, pulling it in my businesses, the business that I work, to bring in a revenue and income into my life. Well, as I was going on, I looked in my book, and for chapter 11 for the month of November, it's really amazing because, when I wrote the book, I was more familiar with what I was writing at the time. But, once the book was written, I didn't memorize each chapter. Once I look at it, I know exactly what I wrote at the time and what the Lord inspired me to do. So when I looked at chapter 11 and it, and just see how the Lord would allow myself to apply that at this time, I looked at the chapter. And the chapter focus for the month of November is get back into the game. Get back in the game. And I said, okay, Lord, I thank you so much, because that's exactly what the Lord had inspired me to do in November. He inspired me to just pull it in, allow him to just work on my personality, vacuum out some stuff that needed to be vacuumed out of my heart, some stuff that, had, kind of settled. He wanted to just work on those things. And so I looked at the chapter and I began to read it and just memorize and, go back over, that time in my life that I had written about. And getting back into the game, well, it depends on what that means to you. I'm getting back in the game spiritually, and I'm getting back into the game naturally in my businesses and the way that I make money, and spiritually the way that I focus and concentrate and just, allow the Lord to minister to me so that I can minister to others. So I just need to get back into that swing, get back into that place where, the power of God was just over me and fulfilling his call on my life. And so as I began to read chapter 11 and it said to me, get back into the game, I started to actually review what the Lord had taught me about that particular lesson and what I wrote about. And in chapter 11 of my book, I used the time when I was about nine years old. Those of you that know me personally know that I'm a dancer. I grew up in the dancing, being very deep into the dancing arts, and I'm still very interested in the arts. And I love ballet. I love all kinds of dance. Actually, I love hip hop. I love all of that stuff. And not that I can get down like I used to, but I do still love the arts. And I still enjoy watching the ballet, and I still like, African dance and tap dancing and anything that pertains to dance in general, I love. And I grew up, very much involved in the arts. But I remember one year that I told my dad that I wanted to go and play softball. I wanted to start softball. My dad was a boxer. And so, growing up with my father in the house, we were very much into sports as well. And so I said to him that particular year, I said to my parents and my father in particular, that, I think I'm going to try softball. Just around in the community, we had a couple of teams that were forming, a couple of my friends in the neighborhood was putting together a little softball team. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And so they used to play right in the schoolyard, and the schoolyard was directly across the street from us. Well, not directly, but it was across the street from us. And we could see from my front yard, you could look right into the schoolyard, and you could see the school, you could see the handball courts, and you could see the field. And so this particular day, I said to my dad, you know what, I'm going to go across the street and I'm going to jump in. I'm going to get into the game. You know, of course, he encouraged me on. And so I went over there. I was about 9 years old, and I got into the game. And I was talking smack with my friends. Yeah, I'm going to knock this ball out of the ballpark. You know, I can do this. Hey, I know how to play punch ball. I'm real good at kickball. This is going to be a piece of cake. Well, I stood on the mound and I felt so good about myself. I felt that confidence, I was very competitive anyway because, like I said, my dad was into sports and he was into boxing. So, I was the kind of kid that, bring it on. I can do it. And so I remember standing on the mound about 9 years old, and I remember they pitched the ball to me, and that ball looked like it came like with excessive force. It looked like it was flying through the air. I remember it to this day. And that ball smacked me right in my face. I mean, it hit me so hard in my nose. I mean, it stung me and it shook me. And I remember, you had the friends there. It was like, oh, laughing like, hey, are you okay? Oh, you got popped, and how kids can be. But at that particular point, it hurt more than anything. And I was trying to be, big about it because I grew up in Southside. You have to have a bounce back mentality when you go in Southside any place. And I had, I got hit and my nose was hurting and it felt like it was swollen up and I couldn't stop the tears from coming down. And I mean, they were big, salty tears too, because now I could taste the tears. And I remember holding my nose, and I remember running out of the park and across the street. Now listen, I know my father saw the whole thing because he could pretty much view, although it was in an angle, he could pretty much view the entire park from, where our house was located. He was outside doing some landscaping. I think he was mowing the lawn or something like that at the time. I knew he was watching. So when I got across the street, I ran across the street, I was holding my nose, I was crying and everything. I was 9 years old, okay? And listen, I'm a ballet dancer. I was just trying to give the softball a shot. And I remember holding my nose and I said, I began to tell my father, they hit me in my face. They was laughing. My father didn't ask me. I do not remember or recall my father asking me, are you okay? He told me, you're all right. You're okay. And I was like, no, I'm not. My nose is hurting, Daddy. And I said, I'm so embarrassed. I was feeling really bad. And my father said, I'm not playing anymore. I told my dad, I'm not playing anymore. Forget about it. So my father looked at me. He said, you're okay. He said, but if I were you, I would go right back and I would knock the devil out of that ball. What? The ball hit you in your face. I would go into that park and I would knock the devil out of that ball. I would get back into the game. And I never forgot that my dad said that to me. And I did. I marched back across the street like, yo, I'm going to knock the devil out of that ball. Hit me in my face, But the thing, too, that I remember that even though my dad gave me that encouragement, I had to go back across the street, and when they saw me coming, they would say, okay, here come Adrian, you white big crybaby. They was calling me names and everything. And it was a little humiliating, to go back and face all my friends after I talked a little smack on the mound, It was a little humiliating to get back into the game at that point. But you know what? My father made sense. He said, if I were you, I'd get back into the game. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do right now. Whatever getting back into the game means to you, if it's in your spiritual life, if you need to, draw closer to God, I'd get back into the game. I would turn off the TV. I would, close down the social media for a little bit, and I would open up the Word of God, and I would spend time reading, and I would spend time on my knees, just calling out to the Lord, quieting myself before Him, and drawing nigh to Him. The Bible says if you draw nigh unto God, or if you draw closer to God, then God will draw closer to you. Isn't that what you want? You want Him to be closer to you, and you want to be closer to Him. I would take the time to just settle and get back into the game. I would get back into the presence of God. Allow the Lord to just saturate me with His goodness, saturate me with His word. I want to get back in the game. I want to grow spiritually. And the same thing naturally. Listen, you want to get back into the game with your business. You have a vision, you saw an opportunity, the opportunity looked good. And sometimes there's some humiliation that might happen. You may not, you might not start running out as strong as you wanted, or you may not have made, exactly what you felt you were going to make, or, maybe you didn't grow it the way that you want to grow it. And, you might feel a little humiliated because maybe you said, hey, I'm going to win in this, in this business. This business is the one, and it didn't quite pan out as well as you wanted to. Hey, it's time for you to get back into the game. Check your company out. Get back to your company. Get back to the drawing board and say, hey, listen, I saw the opportunity. I know that it's valuable. I know that I can make it work. I can do it. I am going to knock the devil out of this thing. That's the mentality and the mindset that you want to have when you get back into the game. I'm giving you the same advice that the Lord has given me. Adrian, get back into the game. And that's what I'm saying to you today. Get back into the game. Get everything that the Lord has planned for you to have. Get the success. Do it on purpose. And win, 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 win. I'm Adrian.